I have a task today to add a currency switcher to a simple commerce example that's powered by Graph CMS. So what we've got is an API, a headless API that's providing the inventory, and then we have Snipcart, which is being used for managing the cart logic. So um, it's good because we can manage all our inventory on Graph CMS or any headless CMS for that matter. And what we can do is we can build our product pages, and then we can use a front end library such as Snipcart to then manage that content. Persist that content through to a cart and allow our users to check out. So I thought, why not just stream this? I've been testing out some software and various things such as my internet connectivity and what have you. So I thought, why not just stream what I'm about to do and just kind of fumble my way through it as well. And you guys can watch and laugh along. Learn along. Um, so yeah, let's remind myself where things are at. So what we've got at the moment is we've got products. We've got a product model. Product model has a name and various other attributes such as images, but also we've got this prices array. And this links to another model in Graph CMS that means a product can have multiple prices. So my product may be available across the world to different countries, and it'd be really nice for anyone coming onto the site to just drop down and change their currency. So why not live stream that process? So this is what it looks like at the moment. We've got a homepage. We've got some products. So if we click on one here, you can see that this mug has an array of different prices. So at the moment, I'm just printing the prices to the page. You can see we get an amount, which is the integer there, and maybe a float. I can't remember. Schema price. Yeah, we have a float amount for the amount of our price, and then we have a currency. And this currency is managed as a enumeration. So we've got two values there, our pounds and euros, and then obviously those are here. We've also got these formatted as well. So really, what I want to do is next to this cart button have a drop down that switches the price on the page based on what the drop down says, and of course we'll have a default one. In this case, it'll probably just be euros, um, and that will be the default currency that shows, and you can switch between them. So yeah, let's try and figure out the best way to do this. So it's probably worth diving into the code first of all. I'll just check that the stream's all okay as well. If anyone is watching along, welcome. What we got is just basic Gatsby setup, really. Um, so let's check this out. We're creating some pages with Gatsby, and we're formatting the price. So we're looking at the model for our price, and then we are adding a formatted type of string. And basically, we're just using this currency formatter package to do this. You could use the internationalization library, but I just want to be able to pass in the code and then have the library figure out the correct formatting and how that's presented. I don't want to have to pass in. I don't really like the API of the internationalization API, if that makes sense. So this library is just a lot nicer. I can just call format, and I've used this before, and it works. So what we're probably going to need to do is have some context. Why don't we add the drop down first, and we'll see what that looks like. So just gonna keep checking the stream as well because I need to check that's all working, because that's the whole point I'm doing this stream, is to check that everything is working and do some stuff. So let's say we've got a select input. We'll not add any on blur or on change stuff just yet. We'll add some values. We'll say euro for the first one, and we'll add that there, and then we'll change this to GBP. probably is all we need. So this is what is going to be here. And when we switch between these, we obviously just want to change the price. So just to keep things nice, let's create a folder called context, and we'll call this currency context. I don't know the best way to name these files. If you have got any suggestions, drop one in the comments, and we can go ahead and we can import, if I can spell, import React. We'll import using a different keyboard, so struggling to type. Create context, use context, and use reducer. We need a good old reducer in there, and then we'll create two contexts. One will be the state context, and one will be the dispatcher context. And this is a trend that I'm seeing more of, where you've kind of got two different context states, or contexts for state and dispatch. So we could create a currency state context, and that will just be create context. Then dispatch context. So those are both of our contexts. So next we'll create initial state. I like to create initial state an object that's kind of lifted out everything, and we'll just say currency is euros as well. This value, I'm guessing, is going to have to match this value here. We could programmatically probably query from Gatsby, maybe in the site metadata for what these are, but I don't know how that would work inside of the context. I don't know if that would work or not. Making a query, I don't think it would, so we'd probably have to pass it down when we are initializing that. So that would be maybe in Gatsby browser or SSR. Inside of here, we call out and pass down the stuff, but I don't know. I don't overcomplicate this. Let's just use that static value here. We've only got two contexts really, so I'm not really bothered. Obviously, if somebody adds a new context or a new enum value in the CMS, that's not going to be reflected in the in the UI here. But you know, that's a bit too future-proof for this example. We just want to switch between two currencies and have it. So I'm going to create another const here, and I'm going to call this. I'll add this up here. Set currency, and I don't know why I do this. I just kind of create a const for my strings so I can reuse them. It's just a habit. It probably is a good practice as well. And then I'm going to create a reducer, and this will take in the state and the action. From the action, I'll probably just destructure here the type and currency. And then we'll have a switch statement in here, which switches on the type. And in the case of set currency, we just want to update the state with the currency we just want to return. So case set currency, return the state, and then we'll just return the currency. So what's happening here, if you're not familiar with reducers, this is probably more common if you've used something like Redux. What we've got here is a simple reducer that's watching for these actions, and it gets the type of the action, and then it's able to kind of return that mutable state. So we're not changing state, we're just returning a new value of state, and then that in theory is used further down, and your application will inherit that behavior and state and update where it needs to, and rehydrate things and stuff. So so we'll say invalid action is of type whatever, so that type is going to come in when we do it. So that's our reducer. Next, what we probably need to do is when it comes to React context, we've got the context, we need to create a provider, and I'm going to create two hooks. one for use currency state, and then use currency dispatch, and then we can return the stuff there. So layout, layout. We'll not touch layout just yet, but in here, page element or root element, probably is root element. We will return currency provider. I don't know. It sounds like a good name. So we'll have currency provider, and we'll import that from source context currency context. Now that doesn't exist, so it's going to complain. So let's now go ahead and create that function currency provider. And really all we need to do is pass along the children, and then we will return the state. We'll encapsulate the children with state. So that's probably what we'll do. So we'll use, no we won't, we'll make this a function, and then we'll return the children inside of, I don't know, we'll maybe use the providers of these in there as well. So just fumbling my way around here. So it's going to be state dispatch, use reducer. It takes in the reducer and the initial state. So this reducer function, this is what this is using. So that dispatch, when we dispatch types, it runs this behavior, and the initial state is here. So you can see what we're doing when we call set currency and we pass currency as a value of the payload. This currency in the initial state will be overridden. So that's all that's going on there. There's plenty of videos online to explain this behavior. I've used reducer for quite a bit now, and obviously I came from Redux, so that's kind of just it's in my mind. It's burned in there with the way this works. So every now and again, you do have to remind yourself where things go. So if we did dot provider, and then we'll do currency dispatch context dot provider, and then we'll wrap in, we'll return the children. So is this doing anything? Export. Yeah, okay, so we're getting somewhere. We've written some code, and we've kind of encapsulated all of that behavior inside of here. So the root element of our Gatsby application now has the context of this state and dispatch for our currency, and it's not broken. So it works. That's all we need right now to make sure we're on the right track. But what I would like to do for this state is we need to actually pass the value to this provider, and the value will simply be state in this case. So that state, when it first loads, is going to be this object here, which is really cool. Then the currency dispatch context, that provider also needs a value. But this time, I'm thinking we're going to need a function, maybe set currency. So yeah, we'll probably call set currency. We'll pass in the currency, and then we will call dispatch, and then it's an object. Then we pass in that const for the type, and then yeah, so that should work. We have a function set currency, takes in the currency, it's dispatching this action set currency, and it's passing in currency as well. So so far so good. this hasn't broken. Now what I want to be able to do is inside of this layout, I want to set the value of the context here. So why don't we first try and just kind of do something like this, where we're able to display the current context, the current context, the current currency context here. So we're going to need a way to do this. And I'm just going to say we're going to import use currency state from, we'll go back one directory, currency, use currency state. We'll work on this now. So that's going to be a hook, and that means we can then destructure from, if we return in the state, we can return the currency. We can destructure the currency from use currency state. Yeah, use currency state. Let's save this. So this is going to complain because that isn't a function. Let's go and make it a function, and we'll export const. We'll just do this. Cannot read property of undefined. So if we return an object and currency, and we'll say Jamie. Use currency state. Yeah, use currency state. It's not actually invoking. It's not actually reading the context. It's not invoking the provider, like getting the state here. So that, like for now, just to check that that's hooked up properly, that should just work, right? So currency. Something's showing up here. Oh, that's because it's inside the select. There, cool. So we've got Jamie shown here, and that to me is good. We've got that hook kind of designed how it should be. So what now? I don't think we need to do anything more on the layout. We're wrapping it, the application, the root element in the currency provider. So yeah, just checking any comments. I've got some people in Slack sending me messages, so I'll just stick that on Do Not Disturb. Yeah, so how do we do the next bit? If we use currency, so we don't want to return that because that's just gobbledygook. It's just pointless. Essentially, what we want to do is we want to return the context, or we could call it state. We'll call it context because I'm going to do. Did I import it? Yes, I imported use context. And then it's the state that. So I'm going to do currency state context, and we are going to do this. Now, one other thing. So we'll just check that that works. I'm going to uncomment that. Awesome. So what we've got now is we are using the currency state context, and then we are just returning that inside of our use currency state function. And then I'm able to destructure from context. Context is just this object, right? So this object is the initial state for our React context for the currency state context const up here. So that's hopefully that makes sense what's going on right now. But one other thing that I like to do is I like to help the future me. So what I tend to do, if there's no context, I like to throw a new error. And I just like to say something like use currency state must be used inside currency provider. Because at some point, I'm going to go, I know when I created a currency provider or a currency switcher, I'm going to go grab that code. And what I do, this is the future me, by the way, is I walk in there, I copy this, and I paste it into a new file. And I'm like, why is the context not working? Well, if I add this error here, I'm going to get a nice warning. And let's try and mimic future me because, you know, why not? I come in here. Oh, what is this? Error. Use currency state must be used inside currency provider. Ah, I know what I've done wrong, Jamie. I copy and pasted some code and I forgot to invoke the currency provider or wrap my application in this currency provider. Oh, I've done it, future me. And here we go. We've now got it. We've got the euro here as the default initial state. But what we want to do now is when we click this, we would like to change this based on this drop down, and then we can use that value to simply find in this array which price matches and then return the formatted amount. So we're 20 minutes in. I think we might be able to get this done in 10-15 minutes. Let's see. Let's put some pen to paper, fingers to keyboard, whatever the term be. I'm going to copy this because I think it's mainly the same. Use dispatch context. Yep. Use dispatch state. Is that right? No, sorry. Dispatch. Use currency dispatch. That will be what we do. So I'm going to... how does this work? Okay, so we will import this. And the function was called set currency. I remember now. So basically, we want to call this function every time we update the select or select option. So use currency dispatch must be used inside currency provider. Again, help in future me. And that is it. The context of use currency dispatch is this value here. So I'm able to then destructure the set currency function that we have here. And then when that is run or invoked, this will invoke dispatch and send along the currency. So I think we're almost there. I think the hard bit's done with this. It's mainly the same. It's just, I think, a nicer way to split the responsibility here and do that. So we've got this here. That doesn't do anything. So now let's make things interesting. So I will use I'll use unchange, and we'll say we'll destructure the target value. I think that's what it is. And then we'll call set currency, and we'll pass in value, right? We'll do this for on blur as well. And what else do we need? Is it initial value? I'm thinking of a library, aren't I? Default value is going to be currency. Again, that currency comes from here. So now if we refresh the page and we click here, set currency is not a function. Use currency dispatch. Use currency dispatch. Use dispatch. Currency dispatch context. Just check the console log. What's going on? Use currency dispatch. Set currency. Set currency. Layout 22. Set currency. So set currency is not a function, so it's not being returned. That context isn't being returned, rather. So use currency dispatch. Use currency dispatch. I see what I've done here. So use currency dispatch. It's using the state context as the initial value. So I change this to currency dispatch context. Now what should happen when I change to this is it should update the key here. So I'm able to switch between these two here, and that updates there. So now we're pretty much there. I'm going to remove currency from the header here. It's just not needed. Let's make this a little bit easier to see what's going on. Now, if we go to the product page, and we import use currency state, and we'll import that from context, currency context, and then inside of the function for our page, we will call, well, we'll invoke that hook here, function rather, and we'll destructure currency, and then let's just for now return the currency here. Okay, cool. So now we're talking. We've got the switch here, which is changing the context on the product page. And of course, if I go to a different product and click this here, you'll see that that state's persisted as well. So I can go to any of the product and that value persists, which is cool. That's exactly what we wanted. So this short sleeve t-shirt, we now want to update this to be the price. So I think all we need to do, I'm just going to move that up there, is we need to do create a new const here, which is going to be active price. Just call it active price. And then we're going to go, we have an array of prices already, and we're just going to simply find where the currency, where the price currency, so I'll call this P, is equal to currency, and then this active price, I can just do this dot formatted, because that we found the item in the array. That's what this is doing here, where these match, and then we need to call on that object the formatted value. So there we have it. We're 28 minutes. We've actually done it in less time than I said we would. Then if I change between these here, you'll see that the value is changing. So I can change it to pounds and go to a new product here and switch. So wherever I am in the world, if I want to see the local currency, I've now got this great, very simply designed. There's no design in here, but we can do that another day. But we can now switch between the context here. And really all that's going on is we have a React context, and we are simply calling some functions on that and return the data and mutating state. So 30 minutes. I thought this was going to take a bit longer, but I'm able to wrap this up. So I'll end this video now, and then the next video we'll pick the next thing on the list to work on this project, and I'll just stream that as well. It's been quite a good motivational exercise. I think streaming is a good way to just kind of get on and do something. I've got that pressure of people watching and things, so I'll stop waffling on. I'll end the video there, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.